What's up, everyone, and welcome to NSFW, an after-hours podcast where we give it to you straight about the new world of business. It's political season, so that means every asshole you've ever met has a strong opinion on your Facebook feed. So today we have a very Facebook-centric episode. We're talking about big data and Facebook's trending news fiasco. If you're watching this at work, pop in those headphones because this is not safe for work. What's up, guys? Jesse here from Generations Beyond. I'm joined with, as usual, Jesse Viola from APM Shipping Services and Viola International. And our sub for today for Elliot, Corey Adams, who's our producer and cameraman and independent filmmaker. I wanted to start today's episode off with a little bit of a freestyle, so I'm going to pose a question and I'm going to follow it up with my reasoning. If you can own either company, would it be Google or Facebook? You're the CEO.
Yikes.
You're in control.
That's a fucked up question. That's a tough one. What do you got?
That's like, would you like to be invisible or fly?
You heard that? Would you like to be invisible or fly? That was awesome. That might even be a better question.
No, it would be like having superpowers. Basically, it's the closest thing you can come.
I'm taking Facebook.
Okay.
Yeah.
What do you got?
Yeah, I'll take Facebook too. I think.
Any reasoning?
Because I think that Facebook is it's early days, and Facebook is going to do a lot of what Google does.
Yeah.
And maybe even do it better.
Yeah.
Because like when you look at Facebook advertising, it's just a better version of pay-per-click. Mm-hmm. It's targeted. It's your exact audience. So you have a widget that you made that, you know, people who like horror movies like. So you go to Night of the Living Dead and you look at all the people that like Night of the Living Dead, and you could actually target specifically those people. That's amazing. So it's like whatever your content is, whatever you're trying to push, you could go in, find your target market who's already interested in a similar thing, and then get your content in front of them. And that's not even talking about the social media aspect of it. That's just the advertising function, which is brand new. And I'm a stockholder in Facebook. I mean, small, so I do technically own Facebook. From when they started to now, it's just a couple of years. I mean, it's maybe 3-4 years. I mean, their stock has exploded. I mean, it's probably grown like 600%. And they really just started to monetize the business. It's early days of how they're making money. I mean, everybody threw money into them in the beginning because it was like, these guys have 7 billion users or whatever it is. So we don't know how the fuck they're going to make money. But we know that everybody in the world who spends money is somehow connected into this. Mm-hmm. So we're going to throw our money in, and somehow, some way, it's going to pan out. I think we're starting to see the business model evolve. And I think that, whereas like Google, Google is investing in space travel and things like that. And I think they're already Big Brother. They're not light and nimble anymore. They're already way into...
I feel like Facebook is even more in our personal lives, though. They have more information.
Well, would you say your motivations are financial and innovation?
Yes, right.
Yeah.
Now, you brought up the keyword superpower. Are there any other key motivators for you?
Well, who do you choose first?
You choose Facebook.
Well, I said Facebook, but then I started thinking because you have to think about everything that goes along with both of those, and then I think Google, YouTube. I love YouTube. I spend most of my time on YouTube more than anything.
YouTube's Google.
That's what I'm saying.
Okay, right.
That's what I'm saying. I said Facebook, and then I was like, oh wait, Google owns YouTube, but then it does seem like Facebook is going the route of I guess they're both really doing pretty awesome things. It's hard. That's a really hard question.
Okay.
It really is. I mean, did you see they were just showing me that the Facebook satellite was blown up.
It blew up.
That's
so leave space to Elon Musk, Zuck.
Well, no, that was on Elon's. That was with SpaceX.
Yes.
Oh, really?
It
did.
We're all fucked.
So Elon blew up Facebook's satellite. That's crazy.
So, all right, to continue along my line of questioning in order to get us to the next topic, everyone's throwing around big data, right? Big data. So I think...
Does anybody even know what that exactly means?
Well, I'm going to try and get into it and kind of give you my vision. I'm sure it's not just my vision, but how I think Facebook is just going to conquer the world.
Okay.
So everyone's throwing around this concept of big data. And the best example of big data that I've ever heard is Visa and MasterCard can incredibly accurately predict when someone's going to have a divorce or when someone is having an affair just based on their purchasing data. So with just looking at data,
that's amazing.
Visa and MasterCard can accurately predict who's headed for a divorce, right? So that's kind of an example of what big data is. Now you take Facebook, which is the biggest database of the world. People log in, what they're reading, what they're feeling. You know,
Sure.
Imagine like all that data you could use, you know, if you want to talk about investing in the stock market. You know, if you own Facebook, you can kind of follow the employees of a company and actually track through an algorithm their happiness level. And if you know that employee happiness is up here, you know, a stock is poised or a business is poised to explode.
Yeah.
All this incredible data. My mind automatically goes into supervillain mode. Like, I would be such an evil... It's like this incredible power. And the reason I bring it up to bring us into our next conversation is the whole Facebook trending fiasco where, you know, the trending news feeds were curated by people and they were too left or too right, and now they fired them all and now it's all robotic, you know.
Right.
So, you know, we criticize Facebook for being evil or you know, opinionated when, you know, I think if I had that power, like I can't even think of a non-evil thing. It would be so self-serving. Like, I would use that data and those powers.
I mean, it's impossible not to.
So, you know,
really?
Everyone kind of throws Google and Facebook, you know, under the bus for being evil and, you know, being too big.
No,
and
they're
too
just
powerful.
a lot fucking smarter than we are.
Yeah.
And they're using it.
I give them
just
credit.
using it, people think that's evil.
They're not even using it bad. They get criticized here and there, but I would, like, on the flip of a fucking switch, I would take over the world.
Well, I mean, if you know,
it's true. That's fucking scary.
They have analysts that are analyzing all of this info and you know, trends. Following trends is how you predict market shifts and how you. I mean, so why would you not do that?
Yep.
Why would you? You know what's funny? You mentioned about the you know, the left leaning, right leaning stuff. Did either of you guys watch House of Cards?
I watched a little bit of it.
Yeah.
So, long story short, is like there's a character in there who's also running for president, and he's hooked up with like the Google, you know, the whatever the company is that is the Google company.
Yeah.
And now they're going deep and heavy into that, and I feel like this election cycle, you're going to see a lot of that. You're like all of those companies, like that data of all the people reacting to whether they're leaning left or they're leaning right. I mean, there's so much data out right now about what people's political leanings, you know, thought processes is, and you know, there is no way on earth that the United States government in some way is not benefiting from that right now. They I mean, maybe, you know, I know like Facebook and Google will probably say like they're not complicit and they're not participating, but you know, they probably have like independent, like there's somebody's getting paid somewhere to tell the politicians who's saying what.
I'm sure that big data has existed long before Facebook. Now it's just so efficient and so big.
It's outrageous.
We're doing it to ourselves.
I mean, I'm throwing out ideas here. We're probably like not even touching the surface about what you can do.
No way.
Like you can probably start predicting the future, like with this data. Like, you know, they can tell you like, are you happy or sad? You know, when you announce a pregnancy or you announce a new relationship, how far into it your actual happiness levels are going to drop. And
see, that's a funny thing about that. I always had this funny kind of short film idea that I wanted to do with Facebook, where you go to, you know, it's like someone going through their feed, and this is a little bit off topic, but it's kind of what you're talking about.
It's not safe for work, dude. It's no fucking rules.
No, but it's just like you know, you go through the post and you see like a post of a girl saying like, "Oh my god, I love my boyfriend," and then you just zoom in on that and cut to them, you know, come out of their computer screen where they're just fucking yelling at each other. It's just this facade that everyone's putting up in their posts. It's like, we're so happy we're having a kid. It's like an oops baby, and they're miserable, and my life's over, oh god.
Yeah, Opie and Anthony used to have a bit like people would call in and bitch about their like divorce that they're going through, and they're like, well, before you get into it, what was your wedding song? And they're like, they'll play like very soft over it, like precious days.
Oh my god, it's amazing.
Man, that's
so
mean.
brutal.
That is mean.
Brutal.
But the question I have is it why is everybody so upset on social media? Is everybody that upset in real life, or is it just on Facebook?
I think that's a perfect segue into our next segment. So stay tuned, and we'll be right back.
So, back to the conversation about social media. Why is everybody so pissed off and upset and yelling at everybody? I feel like everybody should be writing in capital letters right now on Facebook because like everybody's mad. What's going on?
You think they're really mad, or you think they finally have a soapbox and
Yeah.
they need something to say?
I think it's a little bit of both. I think people that are just assholes that love to complain have existed since the dawning of time, and now they have this magical box that lives in their pocket to where every time fucking their butt itches, they can be like, "Fuck you, my butt itches." I think that's like now they have like a super tool. But I also think that we're going through a time period to where like people's definitions of reality are really being questioned. It's almost as if like us as a country, like I'd say like since World War II, like we've done really well. We've made a fucking ungodly amount of money. We've produced a monstrous middle class, and we've morphed into a society like the other side of success, I guess. Like things like people have kind of been like asleep at the wheel on autopilot for a long time, and then all of a sudden September 11th happened and the world completely changed, and then right after that the internet just boom entered in, and now everything has changed and people are still trying to figure out like, is this real, is this a dream, what is life, because previous, we were talking about this earlier, I think people had
like, did we all actually die on 9/11?
We actually might be in the Matrix. We might be in the Matrix right now. There's like a little pod room like back by the servers where we're all stored in there. But I think people, like our parents and stuff, like they weren't asking as deep of questions, maybe, or that wasn't confronted to them all the time because there wasn't as much information as readily available. Yeah. Now you have so much information readily available that is challenging or supporting whatever it is you think you believe in. How do you know what to believe in? Yeah. Because like there's just so much information out there, and people, we're talking about this too about like the political parties and who's left and who's right, and I feel like what I'm seeing when I look at it, I feel like it's exposing like this big joke that everybody's been in on for that that nobody's known about forever, to where it's like, well, I'm a liberal or I'm a conservative. It's like the same thing as like we're born in Long Island. Like if your dad was a Mets fan, you grew up a Mets fan. Right. Except that's fucking baseball. Now we're talking about like the
complex.
Like what my position on truth and the pursuit of happiness is. You probably should do a little bit more thought and research into what's important to you as a person, rather than being like, well, yeah, I'm fucking New York, it's a blue state, I'm liberal. I like art, so fuck the Republicans.
It's weird.
They make too much money. It doesn't make any sense.
The worst thing, I think the reason why people are fighting so much is every single person thinks that they read like the article that explains it all, or they saw the statistic. It's like we all have the internet in front of us. We're literally, you're posting this on the internet where we all are, and we all have access to all this information. So it's like, my argument, so here's a link, and then someone's like, well, this is my argument, here's a link that contradicts that.
Like it's
and they just go like that, and it's just like
it's an edit from 17 Donald Trump
Yeah.
interviews on 60
Yeah.
Minutes, and now it's like, oh, this is it.
Yeah,
This is
I love when people
This
post
is why he
things-
should be the guy.
Yeah, they post like their, when the website has conservative in it, it's like, do you really think it's going to be unbiased? I mean,
Yeah, but it's the same on the other side.
oh no, I didn't mean
It's-
to specifically.
No, I know.
I mean both. It's
but
like,
it's
ridiculous.
It's crazy. It's like now, like there's every on the liberal thing, like everybody is oppressed. Everybody is under scrutiny. Everybody is treated unfair. Everybody is
Oh yeah, it's they're imploding.
It's crazy. I don't like. Where is it leading? Like, what's the maybe Big Data's gonna mine this and kind of classify this, and there's gonna be a whole bunch of idiot people who get sold shit that they don't need. You know what I mean? Because you're angry and upset, and you're a revolutionary or whatever you fucking think you are. It's interesting stuff. I wonder.
Well, when it comes down to it, not one of them is leaving their fucking chair to actually go make some change. They're just
100%. 100%. Like all those people that are arguing, like, all right, quit your fucking job at the accounting firm and go run for office.
Yeah.
Go become an assemblyman or whatever the fuck the other things that they are. Go do that. Stop yelling at everybody and go write some policy or something. I don't know.
So we have, it's political season, so we have the argument that's been going on since forever. You throw social media into the mix. What do you guys see happening, and what do you guys foresee happening if this continues at this rate?
Who knows? Because part of me wants to say nothing's gonna happen. Either one of these people are gonna get elected, and it's gonna be the same shit as always.
Well, on a personal level, I can tell you, specifically with this election, and I am the least political person. It's exposed so many of my friends as either fucking retards,
right.
Condescending.
It's kind of a good thing.
Condescending assholes.
Don't trust around your kids.
Barely passed high school, and you're gonna get up and condescend to me on who I should vote and how I should vote. I mean, it's really turned me off, to a lot of people.
Yeah.
I don't know where that ends. It's probably only going to get worse.
No,
Yeah.
I know people that are on there that are ranting and raving hard, they have political justice degrees and stuff, and yet these guys don't even have jobs.
Yep.
Yeah.
And they're still living on their parents' couch or something,
Yeah,
some
yeah.
shit like that. And it's I don't understand. I don't with what. Where did the thought arise that all of this effort and energy that you're putting out into the world? Why don't you use half of that? Go get a fucking job.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Going to what you kind of said too is that I always preach this idea. First off, I think our country might be too big to be one country. I do. I mean, if you really think my life is so
you
much
want to go back
different.
to Civil War.
Yes,
You want
exactly.
Mason Dixon.
No,
line.
I feel like that's what we're running into now, and we're just because we're so connected now, we're realizing oh shit, those people are part of my country. And holy shit, we all had that image of oh, Southern people like this, and Midwest are kind of whatever. But going back to what you were kind of saying, we're taught from a young age. I think this is a big problem. Well, you could argue it's a big problem, but we're taught from a young age when you're a little kid, they're you could be the next president of the United States. You could be whatever you want. So we all grow up. Some of us work hard and study. Some of us don't. But the people who don't think that their opinion is as important as someone who does.
Sure.
And people need to understand that some opinions are worth more than others. It's just fact.
Well, because it's not about I think one of the biggest misnomers in our society is and even when you look at the education system and all that kind of stuff, what who fucking cares about what you know?
Mm-hmm.
It's about what you do with what you know.
Exactly.
What can you make happen? What can you produce? Because there's a ton of Einsteins, sitting on couches somewhere, not doing anything, and who cares? And I don't think, I think it's not smart to placate to, the academic type of thought process in any way. You need the academic thought process to establish theories, but the theories need to be tested. And if it doesn't work, it doesn't work. And now it's got to be tweaked. And, like, different people, like when you think about liberal and conservative, you can talk to 10 different people, and all 10 of those people are going to, and because you think about the definitions of the words, right? Liberal puts a little bit too much salt on his plate. Conservative, well, he doesn't reach for the salt every other meal. You think about, 10 different people across 10 different categories, and they're going to feel liberal about certain things, like the salt, and conservative about other things, like the way they invest their money. But it doesn't mean that, like, I'm a liberal, I'm a conservative, and that's it. This is who I am. And I think that we're witnessing the dying of the Madison Avenue era of advertising and marketing, to where people have been brainwashed that they have to choose. They have to be a thing. Because the truth is that we're a country of mutts. That's what we are. We're not Germans, we're not Italians, we're Americans. We're a big hodgepodge of shit that comes from all over the place for different reasons. So, diversity is at the core of who we are, and it's okay. It's okay. As long as your, thought process and feeling is not, taking away from my life, it's all right if you, like to pray to the carpet, or you like to I don't know, whatever you like to do. You want to marry your dog.
Shit.
I mean, who cares? Who cares? But it becomes these big arguments, because I think that, like, once upon a time, like in our parents' era, you had to be a thing. You had to be a businessman. You had to be an athlete. You had to be in school, like we come up in school. It's like, well, what are you? Are you a popular kid? Are you a jock? Are you a freak? Are you a this? Like, no, you're a fucking person, and you're probably a lot of different things, and you have a lot of different feelings. But going back to big data, if you're a marketing firm and you're trying to sell shit, it's really difficult to sell shit to the human amalgam that we all are.
Yeah.
But it's a lot easier to sell shit when you force people to put themselves in a box.
Yeah, label.
To make them think they're going to feel better about themselves, so you can sell them shit they don't need.
So do you think I think you said it, I think your feeling is that social media, the internet, much like music we were talking before, there's metalheads, back in the day, but now there's so many options that people aren't really like hardcore metalheads, because there's so many other options.
Yeah.
Do you feel social media is more polarizing, where you're getting more left side, right side, or do you feel that it's just kind of bringing that what?
I think it goes back to early days on the level, like, you look at the music industry, and we're still seeing it now. And that you're going to see this again, I think, with the film business. So, music industry, people used to sell records, physical music. People would buy it, right? That completely disappeared. And now you look at an industry, and the industry doesn't exactly know what it is. Just like Facebook in the beginning. Facebook opened up with an IPO at, however many $1 billion, was their valuation. And all of the investors, the guys who got in, they had no clear business model. But everybody knew that we're in touch with all these with these people, so we're going to figure out how to make money. Same thing with music. So in the music business, people stopped buying records, but now licensing, and now music is going deeper into the advertising world, because music sells everything except for music. I think we're looking at that in American society on like a scale of like, okay, in the last century, the Industrial Revolution gave rise to monster capitalism, gave rise to NAFTA and exporting and global trade. We're now at early days of something that's going to be new, that we don't know what it is yet. We don't have the answer, and that scares the shit out of people. And that makes people start to point fingers, and because now, like, if what you believed in your whole life is being proved to be not true or not valid or not as important, well, does that make you a fucking idiot? It doesn't. What makes you a fucking idiot is being so certain about anything in the first place to begin with.
Yeah.
Because I think that is the biggest mistake that anybody makes in anything. To be like, well, this is what I am, and this is what I like, and this is what it is. It's just, that's the wrong way to go. It's the wrong way to go to say, I am this kind of person, and this is what I do. Because you're always going to get your foot stuck in your mouth.
So perfect world. thanks to the internet, thanks to social media, we're giving birth to a new mindset of American citizen, Joe Q public voter.
I think so.
Yeah.
I mean, can I tell you what it looks like?
Sure.
Can I create the artist rendering? I don't think so.
I thought you had an answer.
No.
Because we're looking for one. We're freaking out, man.
If I had the answer, we'd be sitting in a fancy room. we'd have a lot of stuff. But I think it's exciting because we're all in business and doing the things that we do both from a financial perspective and from a creative perspective. I think that 100 years from now, people are going to look back at this time and it's going to be like another renaissance.
Yep.
People that we grew up around and knew are going to be looked at as you may be the Leonardo da Vinci of digital marketing 100 years from now. Where like we talked about this last episode about how a lot of the old world is crumbling and crashing and disappearing, but it's fertilizing the soil.
Right.
It's fertilizing the soil for some new people with new ideas to come in and say, well, who fucking cares how they did it 30 years ago? Why don't we try it like this and see what happens? Because the only limitation is just the prison of your own mind.
Absolutely.
As far as you want to let it go is as far as it can go.
Yeah, it shocks me that people still they'll still look at history and think like, oh, well, we're at this point where every idea has been done, every story's been told. Yeah, I'm just like, how many times we have to go through this to realize, no, that's just where we're at right now. And there's those minds that see past it, and whether they mean to or not, it just kind of happens. I mean, yes, there's some people who are just brilliant and they can foresee stuff like this, but yeah, I can't believe people still think that way.
It's like, how the end of every century, there's some religious nut is it's going to be the end of the world.
Yeah.
And at what point are they going to stop doing that? However many thousand, however many years, we're recorded to be on the rock.
Yeah.
It has not stopped yet. Yeah. So, statistically speaking, you're really playing the scratch-off lottery with that one. Yeah. It's crazy.
Yeah.
All right, we'll be right back to close it up. See you soon. So that's our show for today. Closing thought, we have kind of three generations here, 20s, 30s, 40s. We're talking about the internet punching a hole through society, industries crumbling, stuff coming up from the ruins. So I've always been counterculture at heart, punk rock, roll the fucking dice and let's see what happens.
Okay. Same.
I bet. But as my business becomes more successful and I become older, I get less likely to roll those dice. Get a little romantic.
Sure.
So I'm curious as to what you guys think. The different generations. I'm sure Corey is all for fucking let's tear it down. And
maybe that's the progression.
Build it in my image. So we'll toss it over to Jesse and then close it out with Corey.
You're talking about from a financial perspective, or are you talking about from a philosophical perspective?
I'd say like if I was in my 20s, I'd be like, fucking let's roll the dice with Trump and see what craziness happens. Who cares?
Yeah, and I think that's what's happening.
But now I'm like, whoa.
Yeah, you know what? I think that that specific thing. I think that's just stupid. I don't even know.
Coming up, I was
tell us how you really feel.
Fuck the music industry, tear it down.
Tear that motherfucker
Napster and all that. How do you feel as a business owner?
Well, you said counterculture, and what's funny is that I feel like I've always identified with counterculture type thought process, but the word, I never I heard the word counterculture way long after I felt that kind of way. Does it make sense?
Sure.
So and that's the same thing what's happening with Trump and Hillary. People have too much of a need to classify themselves. And I think the truest sense of counterculture and the truest sense of rebellion or risk or anything is the balls and the courage to just be yourself. And not attempt to find a lane or differentiate yourself, because you don't have to try to differentiate yourself, because nobody else is Jesse Bluski. Mm-hmm. Nobody else is me.
Right.
Nobody else is Corey.
Right.
So it's impossible for anybody else to duplicate me unless we're both saying that, we wear these kind of jeans and we listen to this kind of music and like this is what we do. And I think, we can poke fun at that on like a younger level, like, kids that do it, and like, we can talk about the music scene and we can talk about the art scene, but it goes all the way up the food chain into Republicans, Democrats, liberals, conservatives, and the whole thing. And like, what's funny is that, America, we live in this society that's like, we're number one and we stand out and we're individuals, but we're the most unindividual society that there is. Mm-hmm. Everybody wants to be, something. Everybody wants to be a part of like some club. And I think that's dangerous.
Yeah.
I think it's dangerous because it stifles people from living the life that they really want to live. And at the end of the day, we're all going to fucking die, and you got one spin. So just do your thing, whatever that is.
That got dark.
So Corey, you're the youngest. You are probably in the most renegade career out of all of us filmmaking.
Oh,
so you have your group, and then you have your big brother that we're all trying to burst into in Hollywood.
Combat filmmaking.
How do you feel about tearing it down? Tearing down something that you want to be a part of professionally.
Yeah. Well, part of me, what's the way I could put it? For example, like the Fire Stick, getting that and taking all these movies and stuff. Part of me is like, yeah, I love watching movies.
Which we heard you can do.
I had a friend tell me this.
None of us have done that.
He's in jail.
There's no real proof.
Yeah, but we just talked about it. But the thought of that is like, I love movies. I love watching movies. And then I think like, if I spent 2 years on a movie and someone didn't pay me for it, I'd want to fucking kill them.
Yeah, but let me throw this at you, right?
Mm-hmm.
So you're a filmmaker, right? Your aspiration is to make films and make money, right? So
stay alive. Yeah.
But if you could have your druthers and you can paint the picture the way you want it to look, Corey gets paid to make films. Mm-hmm. Right?
Yeah.
In whatever way is important to you.
Yeah.
So here's what I would say. I would say if that's your goal and you're doing it and you're following the same business model that existed before the Fire Stick, you're a fucking idiot.
Yeah. Totally.
And if your heart's broken because you spent 2 years making a movie and nobody paid for it, but those 2 years you knew that that's not what's happening anymore, just like, I make music. So if I'm doing a record and I'm hoping that I'm going to sell, 100 million CDs, and I'm upset when it doesn't happen, I'm a fucking idiot. Because it's not about me. It's about the market shifted. The business changed.
Yeah.
So I think creatives and artistic people always forget that if you want to do it in your parents' basement or you just want to do it just for fun, and you never want to think about money, then fine. But if you ever want to get paid for it, you have to accept the fact that it's a business, and there's a business model, and you just need to find how to fit your thing into whatever the model is.
Well, very specifically to filmmaking, a beef that I have, and I'm very open about it. A lot of my peers are really for the fight for saving film, saving celluloid, not shooting digital, because there's these guys. Quentin Tarantino, love the guy, love him to death.
He's such an idiot
all
with
these
that.
guys, but they put out this vibe that if you're not shooting on celluloid and you're shooting digital, they already have a step up from you. It's not the same art form.
And here's the facts, right? All of the hundreds of millions of moviegoers have no fucking clue.
Idea.
No clue. That's just like...
And meanwhile, they're, years ago, they were the guys saying, it's all about content. It doesn't matter what camera you shoot on, this and that. Now all of a sudden it's like... No, but we're a little better because they're the only ones who can afford it. So fuck you for saying my shit's not as good because
100%, and it's the same thing in the music industry. The Rolling Stones and the Beatles recorded on shit rigs.
Right.
It was crap.
Yeah.
It was crap. When you the digital technology is infinitely better. You can do more. If they had the shit that we have now, then they would have been like, oh my god, this is a rocket ship to the moon. But yet you always have these people that cling to nostalgia. Because at the end of the day, Quentin Tarantino is a super millionaire who is afraid to try something new, because if he tries something new and it doesn't work, he's fucked.
Yeah.
So he just keeps doing the thing that he does, and it works, And Quentin, you're not a real renegade. Fuck you.
I
do love your movies.
I love Quentin.
I do love your movies.
But that's a beef I have.
Stop being a pussy.
Like,
yeah, I mean that's kind of how I brought it all up. You know? you get older and you get less punk rock and roll the dice.
Yeah, exactly.
Quentin Tarantino, wants to.
You're the opposite of punk rock. Deal with it. Deal with it.
Preserve. This is what
it's
I'm
very
good
conservative of
the title of this YouTube should be Quentin. Our podcast, Quentin Tarantino.
Yo, great! I can't wait till he sees it and fucking hates it.
Wait till the end, Quentin. Wait till the end.
So that's our show for today. Hope you guys enjoyed it. If you did like it, be one of those annoying people on your Facebook feeds and condescendingly preach this to other people and force it down their throats. This is NSFW. See you guys next time. Bye bye.